Welcome to Cat and Jess Talk the Best, where we're going to be talking about IMDb's top 250 movies from April 12th, 2018. My name is Kat.
And I'm Jess.
And today we're doing our Halloween event. The first movie is going to be Hocus Pocus, which is a comedy family fantasy film from 1993. And unfortunately, this has a 6.8 on 73,538 votes. It's so hard, like, when something is your favorite and then you go and, like, look at the critics' reviews and people voting on it and you're just like, why? Why do you hate this movie?
It's like, you're all wrong. All of you are wrong.
I was reading some of the fan ones, and I'm like, nothing you're saying is valid. I don't agree with any of it. I don't know. It's wrong.
Agreed. That's how I feel about mine, too.
Even when I didn't read the fan reviews on any of them except for Hocus Pocus, because I was talking to some of my coworkers about it, because they hadn't seen it, and I was, like, telling them about it, and then I went and looked at some of the fan reviews, and I was like, this is annoying that they're this low.
That thing that's, you said that some people haven't seen it yet, that's the part of me, I was like, what?
Yeah.
What? How have you not seen Hocus Pocus?
One of them, she said she was going to watch it over our fall break, so.
Oh, okay.
And then the other one, she said she's trying to watch it, but it scared her daughter because she was 4.
Oh, okay.
So she stopped watching it.
All right. That makes sense.
I mean, I watched this when I was 4, I'm guessing, and it didn't scare me, but I had already watched it at that point, and that didn't scare me.
I'm like, this isn't really scary.
It can be for kids. I can see how it is for kids.
Yeah, I can.
Unless it's my child eventually. They will not be scared. So, spoiler-free synopsis. After moving to Salem, Massachusetts, a teenager, Max Dennison, explores an abandoned house with his sister Dani and their new friend Allison. After dismissing a story Allison tells as superstitious, Max accidentally frees a coven of evil witches who used to live in the house. Now, with the help of a magical cat, the kids must steal the witch's book of spells to stop them from becoming immortal.
Yep.
Yep.
That's a good one. Alright, so it's directed by Kenny Ortega, and he's directed all 3 High School Musicals.
Oh, okay.
Newsies, and This Is It, which is the Michael Jackson movie.
Yeah.
And it stars Bette Midler, Sarah Jessica Parker, and Kathy Najimy.
Yeah. And also, Binks is, if you watch NCIS, he's McGee.
Yep.
I always love that scene. I'm like, hey, it's McGee. He didn't die after all.
Nope.
He just went and became an NCIS agent.
Connections. Everything has a connection.
Yes. So, this part is really hard for me. Rotten Tomatoes. The average rating is a 4.4.
What?
Yeah. This is from critics.
Well, they suck.
30% of critics liked it. So, there was 43 reviews. Only 13 liked it and 30 did not. It was hard to read these reviews. I'm like, I can't do this. You're hurting my soul. So, Too Fresh, Carrie Ricky, Silly but Irresistible. Yes.
Yes. Completely.
It is irresistible. Jeff Shannon, Hocus Pocus remains a delightful family comedy, spooky but never scary, as it romps its merry way through the graveyard. I mean, they're in the graveyard quite a bit. So.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, those are the 2 that I definitely agree with. And then 2 that I do not agree with. Kenneth Turan, though children may be satisfied if the witch stuff doesn't scare them, adults will have a harder time with the by-the-numbers confrontations between the witches and the plucky youths. I don't have any problem with this movie.
Of course, we kind of grew up with it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's 25 years old now.
Brian Orndorff, perhaps I underestimate the power of its generational hold, yet considering the potential of broad Disney witch romp, Hocus Pocus is an incredibly mediocre movie. it does have a very powerful generational hold. Anyone that grew up with this movie absolutely loves it.
I do. I love this movie.
Like, I don't know anybody that grew up with this movie that doesn't like it.
Yeah.
But I can see how people don't like Sean. He doesn't like it because I watch it over and over, but then he also doesn't really like it because of what happens to Binks.
Oh, yeah.
So he doesn't want to ever watch it.
I can see that. It was funny. I borrowed this from Dana, and she's like, Kevin won't watch it anymore because I ruined him. Because I watched it all the time.
Yeah, Sean won't make me turn it off if it's the first or second time I've watched it, but if it gets past that, he'll make me turn it off onto something else. But I was watching it one day, just like watching it, not doing my notes or anything, just watching it. And Sean goes, "You're already watching this?" I was like, "Yeah, it's October 2nd. I have to watch it."
Like, it's October.
I'm already a day behind. I have to watch it. He's like, "Okay." And then it gets to the end with Binks. He's like, "Are they going to show him?" I was like, "Yeah, but they already did, so you don't have to see."
Yeah.
Because he doesn't like that part.
I know.
Because he likes cats. So the consensus: harmlessly hokey, yet never much more than mediocre, Hocus Pocus is a muddled, family-friendly effort that fails to live up to the talents of its impressive cast.
You have Bette Midler singing. How is not living it up?
You have all three of them singing.
Yeah, all
Literally
three of them.
all three of them sing.
I was like, and Bette is really known for her singing, so I'm like, okay, whatever. Don't agree with that.
Yeah, I don't agree either. But yeah, that's the critics. It's hard.
Like, critics are wrong.
It's really hard. So the income, the budget was $28 million, and it made a total of $39,514,713. So it was a decent movie, and it's about to get more because all the AMCs everywhere are showing it for that 5-day period. So it's about to get more income. Because that's counting... I don't think that ever counts DVD sales. I think that only counts when it's in theaters.
Yeah,
so.
I think so.
Its opening weekend, it made $8,125,471. Its all-time domestic rank is 2,084. Its highest all-time rank was 442 on October 22nd, 1993. So the Halloween it came out.
So right near Halloween.
Yeah, because it came out in June, I think, which is... I hate it when movies like this come out before Halloween.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, this is just a perfect Halloween movie. If you release it on Halloween, it would make so much more money. Like, if you release it in October, that's why they're releasing Halloween in October instead of February. Like, it'd be a huge mistake to release Halloween in February.
That's just... I mean, if you like watching, like, Halloween movies in February, I know I do, but most people don't.
But the general population doesn't. We are excluded from
We are the weird ones who like watching horror films all year round.
Yes. Christmas, one of my Christmas movies is a horror film, technically.
It is, technically. I mean,
it's classified under horror, so...
It is.
So, it won 2 awards, but the only one that it actually, like, let me pull up was the Academy of Science Fiction and Fantasy and Horror Films. It won for Best Costumes, which is definitely understandable. Like, those costumes are awesome. So, initial thoughts. I don't remember that far back.
When I first watched it?
I don't remember that far.
I'm trying to think. Okay, then I remember watching it. I
just remember always loving it. Like, I've never had... And then, I don't remember the first time I watched it. I just know I've always loved it.
It's just always that go-to movie that you can watch in October, and it just makes you happy.
Yeah. Well, I watch it all year round. If I see it, I'll watch it.
Well, I mean, true.
That's just me.
I was like, it's silly and fun, and there's singing involved, and cat, and
magic and witches.
Like, what's not to love about that?
Yeah.
I think that kind of helped with our Harry Potter thing, too. Just a little bit.
Yeah, probably.
We grew up with all these witches. And
yeah, we did.
Just helped a little.
It did. I think so.
Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert!
Alright, that was your warning. If you haven't watched the film yet, then stop and go make that right. You need to fix that.
Like, it's showing all month long.
Yep.
Come on.
Even in AMC theaters, I think at this point you probably may have missed it, because I don't know for sure if it's showing it on the day that this will come out, but...
No, I don't know. If not, you can easily find it on DVD.
Yep, DVD.
Freeform.
Anywhere, yeah. Freeform definitely has it.
Like, almost every day.
Yeah. Alright. So, I like the music at the very beginning. When you see the shadow of the witch flying.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
It's just very creepy music.
That's true.
Then you see the,
Well, it's a book first, and it says Hocus Pocus.
Yeah.
It says 1693. So
Yep.
it kind of gives you, okay, this is where it's starting. 1693.
Yep. In the 17th century, when the Salem witch trials were in full effect. And then, so the witch is, like, flying around, and there's a kid sleeping. You see McGee sleeping as a kid.
Just gonna call him that.
I'm gonna call him McGee. When he is in person form, he is McGee. When
Okay.
he is in cat form, he is Binks.
Got it. We'll do that.
But the witch flies past his window, and the animals all start going crazy. Because animals are very intuitive. They know when something is evil. So, if your animal ever goes crazy around someone, they're evil. Don't talk to them.
Mm-hmm. I trust my cats completely.
Yes. Then Sarah Jessica Parker starts singing in her "Come Little Children" song.
And he's in bed, and and he looks over because his sister shares a room with him, and he sees that his sister's gone. He starts calling for her. Her name's Emily.
Yep. And so he goes outside and asks his friend, "Hey, have you seen Emily?" And he's like, "No, but look, they summon." And there's like the witch. They're doing their little magic stuff.
Conjuring or something.
Yeah. He says, "They conjure." That's what he says. I'm like, okay. It's so funny listening to them try to do the old English, because they do it sometimes, and then other times they don't, and I'm just like, get it right. But he's like running over there. Well, he tells his friend to summon the elders. And his parents. Like, why don't you just go get your own parents?
He's like, no, he's gotta go chase after his sister, who is running right after the witch.
Yep. So he goes and chases after her. And he rolls down like the hill. Like, why didn't you just run down the hill?
Kind of just tumbled, I guess. I don't know.
Down the hill.
Too focused on sister.
Yep.
That's what
I thought that was funny. Then he gets to the house, and you see the witches.
And they're old looking.
Yeah, they are old looking. They did a pretty good job on the old age makeup. They didn't really have to put a lot on Bette Midler.
Not really.
But that's because she's got a face that you don't really need. Like, when she is old, I don't feel like she would have the certain markings that a lot of other people has, just because of how her face is. But they did a really good job on Sarah Jessica Parker's makeup.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
So they're making a life potion.
And this potion is supposed to, it helps, suck out the life essence of children.
Yeah, so that they can become young and beautiful. That's their goal.
Young and beautiful.
So they've got the potion ready, and they're trying to get Emily to take it, and Binks, or I guess McGee, not Binks at this point. He's not Binks yet. McGee stops them.
Technically, he's Binks. I mean,
he's not Binks yet.
Okay, even though
He's
that's
McGee.
That's his last name in the movie.
Yes, that is his name.
We'll go with McGee still.
His name is Thackeray.
Yes.
Not Zachary. Thackeray.
Thackeray.
It's so weird. It's such
I know.
a weird name. But so I like McGee better.
We'll just McGee. So
McGee tries to stop them, and they have already gotten some of the potion into Emily, but he knocks the rest of it over. So they can't get all the rest of the kids. They only have enough for the one. And they start sucking the life out of Emily.
It's like this weird, like, white aura coming out of her.
Yeah. And then they turn Mickey into Binks, the cat.
It's like they're young again, they turn him into a little black cat.
Yep. And he's cursed forever.
He can't die.
Yep. Yeah, basically, he can't die until the witches die.
Yeah.
So he has to live until they die. Which they, so the town people come. And I think it's ridiculous how long it took the town people to get there.
It's like, you know where they're at. Come on.
It took him 5 minutes, and it took them, 7 hours.
Dramatic effect, I guess. I don't know.
Because it was morning, and he woke up and was, chasing his sister, and he's summon the elders, and he gets there, and it's, maybe an hour later after he's woken up. And then, all of a sudden, when the elders get there, it's nighttime.
Yeah, I was like, come on. Took you forever. So, they get caught, and the witches are, about to be hung.
Yeah, and they cast their curse. Something about they're going to be brought back when a virgin lights candle, pretty much.
Like the black flame candle.
Yeah. I don't remember exactly what their words are for the spell.
I don't. It's I know it's on All Hallows Eve or something.
Yeah, because they can only come back for one Halloween, and if they don't suck the lives out of all the children in Salem, which is their exact words, yeah, then they go away. And the dad is asking where his son is, and she goes, I don't know, cat's got my tongue. I'm like, oh, the pun. And the cat is rubbing on him, Binks is rubbing on him, and that's his son, he doesn't realize it.
Nope.
And so they hang the witches, and then it goes to present day.
1993.
1993. And a teacher is telling this story. And Max, we don't know quite, he says something about how it's just a bunch of hocus pocus. Well, no, he doesn't say that yet, but basically it's just a bunch of hocus pocus, and he doesn't believe it. And,
he's Salem's just only obsessed about, witches and all that.
And, he says that Halloween was invented by the candy companies, and that is a lie.
That's complete and utter lie.
Valentine's was invented by the candy companies and the card companies, but Halloween was not. I don't like Valentine's Day.
It's technically it's Saint Valentine.
Yeah, that's what it's based off of, but it's mostly just really for the candy people and all that. But Halloween is a legitimate thing. It's
All Hallows Eve, where the one night where this girl Allison tells us, she's it's the one night where the dead can come back.
Yes. And also the people from Halloween Town can come to the real world.
Yeah.
Them too. So,
I was is that going to be your one next year?
Actually, I don't know yet. I haven't decided those yet. But probably it might be one.
Probably.
It might be one of them. So Max is well, if Jimi Hendrix comes back to life tonight, here's my number. And everybody's ooh. Acting like children, because they are children.
I mean, they're high schoolers, but they're really just big children. I know. I work with kids all day.
Yeah. But so, then school is over, and Max is on, walking with his bike, and he runs into Allison again, and they're talking. And Allison gives him his phone number back, says trick or treat.
It's ouch. Ouch.
And then, so Max is already kind of upset about that, and because he made a fool of himself in class. And so he's riding home through the graveyard. I guess it's a shortcut.
Yeah.
And he runs into these two high school kids. One of them, his name is Jay, and the other one, his name is Ernie. But that's not his name anymore. His name is Ice now. And
he has ice on,
shaved into his
back
head.
of his head. Oh, God. It's ugh, 90s bullies.
And he wears this funny-looking hat.
Yeah, that's weird.
I don't like his hat.
I don't either.
But they stop him in the graveyard and ask him for money and ask him for cigarettes and ask him where he's from. And they call him Hollywood the rest of the movie because he's from L.A. And they didn't know what L.A. was. Or no, they didn't know what Los Angeles was.
Yeah.
And he goes, L.A.? These guys are stupid. I've never met anyone as stupid as these guys in my life.
They're pretty bad. They are.
But then, so they take his shoes because he can't get anything else from them. Because they're the new cross trainers. Whatever that means. Just a new type of shoe.
Yeah, they still have shoes. And so he has to bike home with socks.
And that hurts.
That does hurt.
I've done that before. That hurts.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't like doing that either.
Yeah. And so he gets home and he's mad. He's mad at his parents. He's like, can't believe you made me move here. They notice that he's not wearing any shoes. And they go, must be some sort of protest. I'm like, no, not exactly, but...
No, he just got his shoe stolen, but, you know.
Yeah.
He's not going to say that.
So he goes to his room, and he's like, laying on his bed, hugging his pillow, and calling it Allison. Like, this is so creepy.
Like, that's kind of weird. But okay, kid.
It's really creepy. But... And then his sister is creeping in his closet.
Yeah, she's like hiding. She's like, boop.
Yeah. She comes out.
She's already dressed up for Halloween.
I think that they were allowed to go to school dressed up.
Yeah.
The younger ones.
She's a little witch. She's cute.
And she lies down on his bed and goes, kiss me, I'm Allison. I'm like, that's not weird. That's really weird. But, they're talking about how he has to take her trick-or-treating and he doesn't want to. And then she screams.
Well, yeah, that sounds like a little kid would do that.
Yep.
And she's little. She's, what, like 8?
I think she's 10. I think she's 10 and Emily was 8. Because she does say something about being 10.
I don't remember.
I'm pretty
8
sure
or 10, one of the two.
I'm pretty sure she said something about being 10. But I don't remember for sure.
Yeah.
So... They go trick-or-treating, and they're at this one house, and they're getting ready to leave it, and all the mean kids, including Jay and Ice, are over there, and saying that they have to pay the toll, and Max is like, let's just go this way, and Dani's like, no, I'm gonna face these little buttheads. And Dani embarrasses Max.
Like a little sister does.
Yeah. So... Dani gets mad at Max because Max got mad at her. So she runs and dramatically falls onto a pile of pumpkins and hay.
Like a little kid.
And then Max comes over and apologizes. And then you find out that they're sitting in front of this big, huge house. And they go inside and it's Allison's house.
Yes.
And they're talking... And Allison says that her mom used to run the Sanderson sisters museum, which was their old house. So they decide to go to the house. And Dani's like, I don't want to go. But Max is like, come on, this is the girl of my dreams. Like, I gotta impress her. Like, oh, I'm pretty sure this is not the girl of your dreams, but okay.
It's just a pretty girl that you see.
Yeah.
And you're thinking like a boy.
Yeah. With the wrong brain.
Exactly.
So, they go to the house. Because Max agrees to be Peter Pan and Wendy, and he agrees to be Peter Pan with tights for next Halloween. That was the stipulation to go.
Yeah.
So they go, and they're like looking around and everything, and Allison's telling them about the legend, and they see the black flame candle, and he's like, oh, I'll light it. This is just a bunch of hocus pocus.
That's what he says the line.
Yeah, that's when he says the line. And then this cat attacks him to stop him from lighting the candle.
This black cat.
Yes, the black cat. Max kind of shoves him off of him, and then he lights the candle anyway, as they're all leaving. And he says, whoops, because like all kinds of weird stuff starts happening. Like all the lights like burst and then light as flames instead of the light bulbs. And all the candles.
It's like everything's like shaking, like there's green light underneath the floorboards and everything.
Yeah, and then they all hide because they know something's about to happen, so we need to hide. So the witches come back, and Mary is like sniffing around because she can smell children.
She's got a good smeller.
Yes, she's
good nose.
She's like a dog.
Kinda.
She barks a lot.
I've always liked Mary.
I do too. She's my favorite. So they find Dani behind the counter, and Dani acts like she's the one who summoned them, and that she's a witch. because she knows that something's not right, and they're gonna kill her probably.
So she's just trying to play it off.
Yep. And they want to eat her. They want to eat Dani. And then Max is like hiding up at the top, and he says something about leave his sister alone or he's gonna start the burning rain of death. And Sarah's like, burning rain of death. Like, she's so ditzy. It's so funny.
It's like, oh, stereotypical ditzy blonde.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he puts his lighter up to it and sets the the sprinklers on the fire.
For the fire.
Yeah. And the cat starts talking, and they're all like, what?
I like this cat talks.
Yes. I mean, my cat talks, but not actual words.
No.
I know what he's saying, but...
Yeah. I mean, I know what mine say, too, but...
Yeah. But it's different.
Actual, like, English words.
Yes, English words, not meows. And on their way out, Max steals the book because he realizes that he needs to take it or they're gonna get what they want. Like, get all the kids in Salem. Plus, Binks told him he needs the book.
He's like, you should grab that.
Yeah. And so, they've left, and the witches realize that it's a trick.
It's just water.
Yep. They, like, put their hands out and lick their hands, and it's just water. They go, he tricked us! And so, they go outside, and they're, like, trying to chase them, and they go outside, and they come up to the road, and it's a black road. It's not what they're used to, because they're used to, like, a dirt like pathway, and then
they're like, they don't know what to do.
Yeah, they don't know. They're like, it's a black river of death or something like that. And so Winifred pushes Sarah onto the road, and she's like screaming, thinking that she's gonna drown. And she goes, she's jumping on it. It's a road.
It's like, it's solid. It's a road. It's like, oh Lord.
But then firefighters are coming, so they get scared by that and turn around and book it the other way. And then, while this is happening, Binks is taking the kids to the graveyard because he knows that the kids or the witches can't get there because it's consecrated grounds.
It's sacred.
Yes. And they can't step on it because they're evil.
Yes. They can't.
And then this is where you hear that the witches need to take the kids' lives before the sun comes up.
One night, they turn to dust.
Yep. And Binks is telling the kids all about the curse and what happened to his sister. And then the witches get on their brooms and go after the kids and after the book because Winifred can't remember the spell, or the recipe for the potion, and so she needs her book. And they're over there, and Binks is like, well, they're like, they can't get us here, right? And Binks is like, well, they can't.
Well, they can't. It's like, what's that supposed to mean?
Yeah,
I don't like how you said that.
Yeah. And so Winifred casts a little spell and raises one of her ex-lovers from the grave and sends him after the kids. Yep, his name is Billy, and she killed him because he was messing around with her sister Sarah.
Yeah. It's like, oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, he sewed his mouth shut and poisoned him is what happened.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
So he's got, like, he can't talk.
Yep, his mouth is all sewed shut. So it's a zombie with his mouth sewed shut, so it's not really a very purposeful zombie.
You can chase people?
Yeah, but what are you gonna do when you catch them?
I don't know. It's something. They can't get there. They can't touch the ground there.
Zombies are supposed to eat people. He can't eat anything with his mouth sewed shut.
It's a poor life.
Yes.
Sorry, Billy.
But Max pulls back a tree branch and waits for Billy to come up and lets it go, and it, like, whacks Billy's head off. And Billy just, like, his body is trying to find his head.
Because Billy's mouth's shown shut, so he can't say anything.
Yeah, he's just gotta feel around for it. And so the kids fall into a crypt. And so the witches go and land outside the graveyard, and Sarah's climbing on the fence.
She's trying to... I'm like, what? You can't get in there.
Even if you do get in there, you're gonna turn to stone as soon as you touch that ground. Like, that doesn't work.
No. Again, not the smartest.
It says we need to form a calming
circle.
She goes, I am calm! And, so they're doing their little calming circle, and a bus pulls up, and they are so confused as to what this contraption is.
Well, I mean, if you're from the 1690s, and you've never seen or heard of anything like that, because, you know.
Yep. But they're super confused, and they tell the bus driver that they desire children. So he takes them to where children are. I'm gonna save that line because I like that line.
Oh, okay. I was like,
that's a
good line.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite lines, so I'm saving it. But Binks is leading the kids through the sewers now.
Yeah.
To where they need to go. And they come up through a manhole, and Binks gets out.
He gets out first.
Yep, and Max is about to come out. But the bus is coming. So he closes it real quick. And Binks gets hit. But he's under a spell.
By the bus.
Yeah. So, but he's under a spell, so.
They come out
they think he's
the sewer
dead.
and they think he's dead.
But his, ribs come back up.
He can't, inflate.
Yeah. It's really weird. It's like an inflatable cat.
I'm like, okay, that's kind of creepy. I was just thinking of what it would look like if it was boots.
It'd be so weird.
You'd like, floop.
Mm-hmm. But so...
He's looking at me weird.
He's like, what are you talking about? I don't know, buddy. Just go back to your whatever you were doing. But... So Billy is following the kids out of the sewer. And, he hasn't come out yet.
A couple of his fingers were out there.
Yeah. He sees the bus coming. I don't know if it was the same bus or a different bus, but he sees a bus coming and his fingers are sticking out and runs
They get run over and they get cut off. And one's wagging still.
Yeah. It's the middle one is wagging. Oh, so the bus is taking the witches to the trick-or-treating kids. And they stop in front of a house where a man is dressed up as Satan. And so the witches think that he is their master.
Master! And they're all excited.
And so he invites them in. And the kids find someone dressed up as a cop and ask him for help. And
they think it's a real cop.
Yeah.
But it's not.
He's messing with them. And then they leave because he tells them to get out of there. And the guy dressed up as a cop, his girlfriend comes out. And she goes, "What's so funny?" Because these kids thought I was real cop. Oh, it was the cop that runs over the manhole and cuts off Billy's fingers. It wasn't the bus. That was it.
Okay.
So the guy dressed up as Satan wants to introduce the sisters to his little woman. And they get excited because he has a little woman. And so he introduces them to his wife. And she's got rollers in her hair. So they think that she's Medusa.
Because it looks like little snakes. Because they're those round ones that they used back in the late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah. And then you see outside there's 3 girls that are dressed up as the sisters. And they left their broomsticks outside. So these kids take their broomsticks. And the sound effects make it sound like they walk off screen and then there's sound effects like they take off and fly. I'm like, that's awesome.
I would be so excited. I'm like, oh, it's a real broomstick. Yes.
Right. So Satan, the guy dressed up as Satan, gives the sisters candy and dances with Sarah. And so when... and Winnie thinks the kitchen is a torture chamber.
Yeah.
And Mary is watching a baby chase a dog. Like a baby in one of those things that it's like a learn to walk thingy.
Oh, yeah.
The baby's in one of those and is chasing a dog around and she's all excited using the remote to direct him, but it doesn't really do anything. But the wife gets mad because she comes back downstairs and sees that Sarah's dancing with her husband, and she kicks them all out. And that's when they find out that wasn't really their master.
He's like, it's just some person dressed up.
Yeah.
Because Halloween has turned into a night where it's like frolicking and fun. And
yeah, she says it's not hobgoblins, these are children.
Yes.
And then pull a mask off of one of the kids. And then you see that the three kids, Dani, Max, and Allison, have gone to the adult party. So, where all of the adults that aren't handing out candy are going.
It's a costume party.
Yep. And so they go there looking for Max and Dani's parents. And Dani finds her mom, who's dressed up as Madonna.
And those weird, it's like a weird bra thing. It's like sticks out really far. Like, oh my god.
I think it's from one of her music videos.
It is.
It's really funny, though.
It's just a little shocking to see your mother dressed up like that.
Well, she's in an adult party. She wasn't expecting her kids to come.
I know, but still.
But, and Max finds his dad, and they're trying to tell their parents, like, what's going on, and they're not believing them.
Of course.
So Max just runs up on stage and takes the mic and, like, is explaining, because at this time, the sisters have gotten to the party.
Yeah, they'd shown up.
And he's, like, telling the story of what's happening and saying that their kids are in danger, and then he says that the witches are right there.
Yeah.
And they are, but people just think that it's a costume. And Winnie acts like she's just a part of the show. And then you get the I Put a Spell on You song.
Yeah, which is awesome.
Which is actually a spell.
It actually is. Like, she puts a spell on the entire thing.
Yep.
The kids are like, don't listen, and they just like book it because their parents aren't listening to them anyways.
Yep.
It's a spell they have to keep dancing.
Yep, they have to dance all night, dance until they die.
Dance until you die. It keeps the parents out of the way.
Yes. So the kids go to a school because they're trying to trap the witches. So they're setting up a trap for the sisters in the school. And the sisters walk up, and one of them goes, "What is this?" And Winifred goes, "It's a prison for children." She's not wrong, but
that's so true. Some days it really is.
So, the sisters think that they're tracking down the kids, and they end up in the kiln, like you said.
The kiln, which
like in the art room.
It's to bake pottery.
Yeah.
That's what a kiln is.
Yeah. And so they get trapped in there because they have the library tape playing in there. It's funny. So then the kids think they won because they burned the witches. But they're wrong.
They think.
Yes, they think they won. So they're leaving, and Binks is like, okay, well, I'm going to go back on my merry way and protect the house again. And they're like, hey, Binks, you're coming home with me. And so they go back to Max and Dani's house and go to sleep.
I mean, it's kind of late at this point.
Yeah, it's like 3 a.m, I think, was what they said. So the witches didn't die. So you saw their, like, essence go out of the chimney, and then it comes back in. And then they come out, and Winifred's repeating the lines of the tape that was playing. She's like, hello, I want my book. And then she says it in French because that's how it was playing on the tape. Jerk guys, Jay and Ice, are sitting on a car after they had TP'd someone's tree and house. And they're trying to figure out what to do. They're like, do you want to go smash some pumpkins?
I'm like, what?
Do you want to watch hot girls undress? And he's like, they're all undressed already. It's 3 a.m. I mean, you're not wrong. But,
it's like, so they're all asleep.
Yeah. So the witches come across them, and Mary smelled them out because Ice is wearing Max's shoes. And they say something about it just being the ugly chicks. And Winifred gets mad about that, so...
So they end up in a cage.
Yep.
Hanging in their house.
Yep. So they're back at their house.
The sister's house.
Yep. And they're trying to remember the potion.
They're like, it's a dead man's...
Nose.
Nose!
She goes, dead man's toes!
Yeah, Sarah got it. She's like, it's toes! And she's like dancing around, and they're like, oh, she's just being stupid again. But she's actually right.
Yeah. And Winifred gets upset because she can't remember the potion, the recipe. So she goes to the window and calls for the book, trying to get the book to come back. And then he jumps to the kids, and they woke up, and it's like 5 o'clock in the morning now. So they only went to sleep for like a couple hours.
Yeah, only a few.
And Allison and Max open the book trying to figure out a spell to help Binks. Because they think, hey, this spell came from this book, maybe we can reverse it with this book. And it's not bad thinking.
That makes sense. And Binks kept telling him, don't mess with the book, but what do? They open it.
Yep. So Winnie is at the window again after she's thrown a fit and says she's going to die.
She's pretty dramatic, that one.
Yeah. And she's at the window again, and she sees, I guess...
like this bright
signal
yellow light or something coming from the book.
So, because they don't have their brooms anymore, they open the closet and find what they can use to fly. And
I love it.
And you see a broom and a mop in there, and then there's like a broken handle of something, but you don't see what else is in there.
You don't see what it is yet.
And so they're leaving, and Winifred has the broom. And it's not like a witch's broom. It's like a broom that you would use to sweep. And then Sarah has the mop. And then Mary comes out holding a vacuum cleaner. And she's like looking at it. And then like, Winnie.
It's always been one of my favorite parts.
Yeah. It's really funny. And so she takes off on the vacuum cleaner. And then it jumps back to the kids. And so it jumps back to the kids, and Binks realizes that they're reading the book, and he jumps over there and stops them. And they did learn that salt can protect you.
Yes.
From
a circle of salt.
Yep, from the witches. So Allison and Max go downstairs to get salt. And they're flirting. And then all of a sudden there's a sound upstairs, and they go run upstairs. And they see that the book is gone. And then they check the bed and pull back the blanket, and it's Sarah.
And not Dani.
Yeah.
They've been sleeping there.
And then the witches are Mary and Winifred are in the closet, and they have the book, Dani, and Binks.
And Binks is in a bag.
Yeah, poor kitty. And then so they leave, and Max and Allison are like trying to figure out what they need to do. And Sarah is singing her song to lure the children to kill them.
Suck out their soul.
Yep.
What are life lessons?
Yep. And then so they're back at their house. The witches are back at the house. And they've made the potion, and they're trying to get Dani to drink it. They're trying to get Dani to drink the potion, and right as they're trying to get Dani to drink it, Max comes in, and he's like, "There's one thing smarter than or better than magic, and that's knowledge." And he goes, "Daylight savings time," and the witches all are like laughing at him, and then the sun
comes out.
The air quotes sun.
Air quotes sun.
And really, it's just Allison turned on the car lights, but they put some film or something over it to make it look like daylight instead of headlights. And so Max rescues Dani and Binks, but all he does is take the shoes from Ice. He leaves them.
Just leaves them in there. He's like, "These are my shoes, so bye."
And then he kicks over the potion, and then they leave. And then the kids go back to the graveyard because they think that's the best place to go. And the witches find that there's they tricked him again. He tricked them again with the sun thing. because they didn't burn up.
No, they're like,
They're all
again.
they're laying on each other. It's funny. And they find that there's just enough potion for one child. And, of course, that child has to be Dani because she's pissed him off.
I mean, that makes sense to me.
Yeah. I mean, my reasonable thinking is there's a shit ton of kids out there. You got 2 big ones in the cages. Like, pick one of them, and then that way you can chase Dani the rest of the time after you've lived past tonight. But they have to make sure they get Dani.
It's revenge.
I mean, my revenge plan would be a little bit more planned out, but...
You're thinking these are the smartest women.
Well, Winifred is the smartest one, but she's mad.
I was like, but she got tricked by a sun.
That is true.
And the water.
They are from the 17th century, so that is true.
They're not that smart.
Yeah. So, the kids are driving to the graveyard, and Winifred is, like, flying next to them and trying to stop them while they're driving. And they get away because they're, like, knocking her off and stuff, and they knock her into the bushes. And then they get to the graveyard, and Billy is still there. And Billy helps the kids set up for the attack against the witches. And he, like, cuts his mouth open.
Cuts it at and then the moths come out?
Yeah, and then the moths come out. When I was younger, I thought that was paper.
What, paper?
I thought they had just, like, stuck paper in his mouth, but no, I get it. It was moths.
It was moths coming out.
So they put a circle of salt around Billy's grave, and Dani stands in it to keep her safe because they know that that's who they're after. And the witches get there, and there's, like, this whole attack, and Billy gets his head knocked off again.
This dude always loses his head.
Yeah, and Dani climbs...
The worst times.
Yeah. And Dani climbs out of the grave to help him get his head. I'm like, you're not very smart.
It's like, the whole reason you're in there in the first place is to protect you.
Mm-hmm.
Oy.
And, so Winifred gets a hold of Dani and, like, has her up on the broom, and Binks runs up a tree and tries to save her and knocks the potion out of Winifred's hand. Max catches it.
Yep.
And then Winifred knocks Binks away, and he, like, hits a rock, and he's dead. And as far as we know, he's going to come back to life.
It's like he can't die.
Yeah. And so Max is trying to get Winifred to let his sister go. And so he drinks the potion.
Yep.
And then Winifred lets Dani go because she's like, oh, there's my kid. I got to get him.
Yeah.
And she starts to suck the life out of him. And Allison, Dani, and Billy catch the cord of the vacuum cleaner to stop Mary. And Sarah comes up and tries to help Mary, and then they let it go, and they fly off.
Yeah.
And the sun is starting to come up. And Winifred has fallen off of her broom, so she's standing on ground that she should not be standing on. She's standing on this holy, consecrated ground, and she can't. So she's starting to turn to stone from standing on it.
Yeah.
And all the while she's, like, trying to suck the life out of Max. And turning to stone at the same time. And the sun is,
comes
like,
up.
pretty much up at this point. And so Sarah and Mary blow up.
Yeah. To dust.
And then Winifred is stone. Max somehow struggles and gets off because he was being gripped by Winifred, but he, like, struggles and gets out, and his shirt's all ripped.
I was like, well, she was made of stone now.
Yeah.
So.
And Winifred blows up. Her stone.
Poof.
And Max is good, and they thank Billy, and then they're, like, looking around for Binks, and they see him, and they see that he's dead, and they're, like, trying, you gotta get up, because they know that he can revive himself, but the witches are
gone.
dead. So
witches are gone now.
Is now allowed to move on, and him and his ghost appears, and he tells them that, he's like, thank you for freeing me. And the one thing I did notice is that he died on his sister's grave.
Yes. Yes, I did notice that too.
And then you see his sister's ghost coming out, looking for him. She goes, McGee!
And she leads him on, which I think is very sweet.
Yep, they move on together. And that's pretty much the end of the movie. Except for there's a couple, like, the end credit scene.
Oh, yeah.
One of them is the parents are leaving the party. And they're singing. They're like, woo! I thought LA was a party town.
It's like, no, you've just been cursed for hours on end and you couldn't stop.
And at this point, it's probably like 7 in the morning.
Partying all night.
Yep. And then Jay and Ice are still stuck in the cages in the house, and they're singing Row, Row, Row Your Boat. And they're doing it, what's that staggered one? I can't think of the name of it. Where one sings and then the other one waits a minute.
You mean a round?
Yes, that's it. I couldn't think
Row, Row Boat is easily used as a round.
Yeah. I just couldn't think of what the word was.
You're good. I got you.
They're singing it in a round, and it's funny. And then the book, its eyes close when it goes over to the book, and then the eye opens, and you're like, it's just waiting for a sequel.
25 years later, still nothing.
No,
still nothing.
But yeah. And that's it.
Yay! Yay, Hocus Pocus.
There is a sequel. It's just not as a movie yet.
No.
I haven't read it, but
it's in book form.
Yes, it is in book form. The premise of the sequel is 25 years later, Max and Allison's 17-year-old daughter, Poppy, finds herself face-to-face with the Sanderson sisters in all their sinister glory. When Halloween celebrations don't quite go as planned, it's a race against time as Poppy and her friends fight to save her family and all of Salem from the witch's latest vile scheme.
So how did the witches come back?
I don't know, I haven't read it yet.
Well, you gotta tell me after you read it.
I was trying to magically put it in my head, it didn't work.
It's like, after she reads it.
Yeah, I was gonna try and read it before we did this, but I didn't have time.
It's been busy.
That book is basically the movie. Because I have read little bits of it because I was going to pick it up. I read little bits to see if the first part was the same as the movie.
Yeah.
And from what I've read, it's almost exactly the same as the movie. And then this is, I think, the play that they're trying to get going.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Because they're trying to do a sequel as play form before they make it a movie.
Sounds like Harry Potter.
Yeah, they're trying to get it going, and they just haven't got it yet. But music. I like the music a lot.
I did too.
You're right. And it's funny because it's the people that actually played those characters that has it sung a cappella by. It's funny. But
the classic "I Put a Spell on You."
Yeah.
I think that's probably the most famous song.
Yeah, it was written by the Screamin' Jayhawks. And a few of the songs were performed by Joseph Malone, and then performed by the "I Put a Spell on You" was also performed by Bette Midler when she took it over from the guy. Whoops.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think all the music is really good for this movie.
I think it fits well, and it's not like out of place or you're thinking to yourself, what is going on?
Yeah.
Why is this music right here, right now?
Yeah, I think they did a good job with the music. So yeah, there is the book, which I haven't quite read it yet. I was going to. But from the little pieces, like I said, it is very similar. And then there's also the play. They do have this as a play, and I think it runs on Broadway during October, but I'm not entirely sure. I haven't seen it.
I don't know about it, so.
Because I've heard of it, I just haven't seen it.
True.
But that's all. There's not really much else to compare it to.
Yeah, that's true. Kind of stands by itself.
Yeah. So, trivia.
I got a few.
Alright.
I was telling Kat before we started this.
Oh, yeah.
So, the moths that come out of Billy's mouth are actual real moths.
Yeah, so...
They're not CGI at all.
That's not paper.
Because Doug Jones, the actor who plays Billy, said, yeah, those are real moths. I had them in my mouth.
That's so gross. Like, what if it just, crawled down your throat? That's so gross.
I mean, well, yeah. Then there's, this is Bette Midler's favorite film of hers.
I can see why.
Yeah, definitely is. And one I thought was kind of cool. I just looked at it. So Sarah Jessica Parker, Sarah in the movie, she was doing some research on her family, on this other show, Who Do You Think You Are? And she found out that one of her great-grandmothers was accused of being a witch during the Salem witch trials.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it was sundry acts of witchcraft and choking a neighbor to death.
Oh, wow.
But no case went to court at all. She was accused, but never went to court. And
Never tried, never hung.
Nope. And that was like near the end of the Salem witch trials too. So it says Jennifer Lopez auditioned for the role of Sarah.
I wouldn't have been.
That's a little like what? It's like wow.
I'm glad that it was Sarah Jessica Parker.
I agree. I do. She was really good in this.
Yeah. She's good at the kind of kooky roles.
Yeah, that's about it.
That's it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot more, but those are some interesting ones.
Yeah. All right. So, favorite line.
Oh God, there's a bunch. Oh, I think. Oh, there's so many. Do you want to start or me? Because I gotta forget which line exactly it is. Oh.
I've got a few. One of them, of course. Oh, come on! It's just a bunch of Hocus Pocus.
Classic.
Winifred talking to Billy. Follow those children, you maggot museum. One of my favorites. Winifred says, "We desire children," and the bus driver goes, "Hey, that may take me a couple tries, but I don't think that'd be a problem." Binks heals up after he's been dead, and he goes, "I hate it when that happens." The conversation with the Medusa lady, when she brought a little old to be trick-or-treating. "We'll be younger in the morning." Yeah, me too. Of course, amok.
Of course, amok.
You're going to turn me into one of those fat, useless contented house cats. Why was I cursed with such idiot sisters? Just lucky, I guess. And this is my last one. Doesn't matter how old or young you are, you sold your soul, you're the ugliest thing that ever lived, and you know it. And that's it.
Wow. So, let's see. I won't have as many as Cat.
I wrote down more, but we talked about them, because when I write down lines, some of them it's I want to talk about them, and then other ones I'm like, this is my favorite line, and I just have to remember which ones are which.
I'll say 2.
Okay.
So, Winifred's, her first lines in the movie, it just, describes me, honestly.
Oh, yeah, I wrote that one down, and I forgot to say it.
It says, look, another glorious morning. Makes me sick.
I have a shirt that has that on it.
I love it. That's me in the mornings. I'm not a morning person at all, so that speaks to me on a deep spiritual level.
Yeah.
And then, of course, between, Billy's telling Winifred, go to hell. And when he's like, well, I've been there, thank you. I found it quite lovely.
Yeah, that one's funny.
Yeah, those are my 2.
So which one?
I don't know. This is one of yours, so I'll let you pick.
I really feel like the one that Dani says to, even though it's not my favorite of the movie, I feel like it, encompasses the whole movie. It says it doesn't matter how young or old you are, you sold your soul, you're the ugliest thing that ever lived, and you know it.
I like it. I think that one will definitely
that's not my favorite line of the movie, but I really like that line. And I feel like it's an underappreciated line, too, because a lot of these other ones that we said are very well used from this movie.
It's true. It's I love amok.
I do too. People say it all the time, so that one's a very well used line from this movie. So
it's just so silly. But I do like Dani's line. That's a good one.
So our rating, I believe mine's already on IMDb, but I will say it.
What is yours?
Mine is a 10.
It says an 8. Ooh.
No. Mine is a 10.
A 10 out of 10.
Yes.
I'm gonna say a 7. I think it's a solid 7. I'm trying to think how I can explain my 7. What is it? Sometimes I think it's like, if you're especially like, well, I grew up with this, so I love it. But if you didn't grow up with it, I can see why people would want not to rate it so high. Because sometimes it can be quite silly.
Yeah, it can be.
I think that's kind of why I took a couple points for it. But that's me. I'm trying to think realistically. But I do love this movie.
I don't really care.
I know.
Like, I love it. I don't care what everybody else thinks. I think it's a 10 for me. So, and it's all based on opinion. It's not like just because I love it that much doesn't mean everyone else in the world is going to love it that much. Like, I understand everybody has their own opinion.
Yep.
It hurts when people don't like this movie.
I was like, I've only given one 10, so.
I think this is my second one. The help in this.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, those are my favorites. Alright, so the next film for our Halloween event is House on Haunted Hill from 1959. Yeah. So that's it for this one.
I was like, yay!
Yep.
House on Haunted Hill. That's one of mine, so.
Yep. We're going to alternate. One of mine, one of hers, one of mine, one of hers. So we'll be back in just a minute.